What is the biggest barrier that you see? Because that intellectually probably makes sense to most people. And then living that and actually embodying that is the big leap, and that's something I've heard, lots of people say, and I've heard you say, like that, this isn't exactly how you or anybody says it, but the biggest, most powerful, most meaningful journey a person could ever take is from the 12-inch journey from their head to their heart. How do we actually
Yeah.
do that? Because people get that. It's like, yeah, that makes sense. If you've ever had any type of experience of love or something of connection, or maybe like some samadhi unicity type sensation that lasted for 30 seconds or 2 hours, you're like, wow, like that was it. And then 24 hours later, you're back to being in conflict. Like, how do we hold that?
hmm Well, the problem you touched on there is that it's our limiting beliefs, often acquired at a very early stage in life, which keeps us out of what I call our genius zone.
Yeah.
In the Big Leap, and one of the things I'm spending a lot of time talking about is its predecessor, Your Big Leap Year, which just came out and is a day book, 366 days of things from the Big Leap and
Amazing.
translated into something you can do in 30 seconds or a minute. And
Amazing.
one of the reasons I put this new book out, and 15 years after the Big Leap came out, is that I kept getting email from people touching on this problem about, I read the Big Leap and I realized, wow, I've got these limiting beliefs and I've got my genius zone. How do I get from A to Z? And so um, the new book lays that out. But just the limiting belief problem is one of the things that contributes to what I call in the Big Leap the upper limit problem. That you have a limiting belief, and there are two big ones and a couple of smaller ones. But one of the biggest ones is a deep, old, unconscious belief that you don't deserve the good things of life,
Yeah.
that there's some fundamental flaw in you that somebody's convinced you of. And, we don't make these things up, they usually come in through our ears or eyes or some other place. Um, Somebody decides that they don't deserve the good things of life, and then that's passed down through their programming to the people around them. So the fundamental flaw limiting belief is a first one we have to look at and say, do I have that? Do I have anything? Do I have a belief that I'm the wrong weight or height or skin color or ethnicity to have the good things of life? And a lot of people
Mm.
do have that limiting belief. A second big limiting belief, especially for people who are interested in transformation and things like that, is what I call the fear of outshining. A lot of people have a limiting belief that says it's okay for me to support somebody else or follow a leader or listen to a teacher, but it's not okay for me to stand up in the light. And I think everybody needs to have their portion of the light, to open up to knowing and broadcasting and feeling the things they are most passionate about. You mentioned a little while ago, how do you get from that 12-inch journey from your head down to your heart? The only way I know of is by catching yourself in the middle of one of those limiting beliefs and then shifting down to your body and letting yourself experience. Is that connected to old anger? Is that connected to old sadness? Is that something I'm scared about? But those things are body experiences, somatic experiences that we need to learn to be with and to honor and to love and to ground our lives in. And it can only be gotten by what I think is one of the big evolutionary tasks of our time, which is to admit our bodies into our minds and admit our minds into our bodies so that we
Mm.
are all one thing. And, we've come 100 years from Thomas Edison, who said the purpose of the human body is to carry the head around. Yuck. That's
Jesus.
a very limiting way of looking at the world, although thanks for the light bulbs and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But somatically, that's just asking for it, because if you cut your head off from your heart and your mind, or your mind off from your body, you're setting up a rattle that's going to be palpable in your life in the not too distant future. So
It
alignment, getting
yeah.
aligned.